All right, let's be real. Have you ever poured a ton of money into an ad campaign just to watch it completely flop? Yeah, that feeling, that unpredictable, super disappointing result, that's exactly why we need to cut through all the noise and just focus on what actually works.
I mean, that's the million-dollar question, right? Advertising can feel like you're just rolling the dice. But what if there was a system, a way to diagnose, to fix, and to build campaigns that consistently deliver results? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today.
So let me introduce you to the Ads Core 4 framework, or AC4 for short. And look, this is not another fancy algorithm hack. It's a super simple but really powerful diagnostic tool. It's built on 4 pillars that you can actually control: your product, your audience, your offer, and your funnel. If you can get these 4 things right, you're building an absolutely unshakable foundation for success.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about the whole idea behind this framework. Then we'll dive deep into the 2 foundational pillars. That's product and audience. After that, we'll get into the hook, your offer and your funnel. And to wrap it all up, we'll see how these pieces come together and work in perfect sync.
Right, so we're talking about moving away from all those temporary tricks and hacks. The idea here is to bring the power back to your strategy. It's about building something that lasts, something solid, instead of just reacting every time an ad platform changes its mind.
And this quote, it really says it all, doesn't it? Success isn't about being the world's best at using a specific ad platform. No, it's about mastering your own strategy. You don't just find demand, you have to build it. And you build it by having the right product for the right people with the right message. So let's get to building.
Okay, let's start with the absolute bedrock of any campaign. I'm talking about the 2 internal pillars that you have to nail before you even think about spending a single dollar on ad creative or budget.
First up, pillar number 1, your product. Now think of it like the engine of a car. Seriously, you can have the slickest paint job, the best driver in the world, but if that engine is busted, you are going absolutely nowhere fast.
You know, this idea of pushing a rope, it just perfectly captures the problem. You can put in all the effort in the world, but it won't work. Great marketing simply cannot fix a weak product. See, people buy solutions to their problems, not just a list of features. So if your product isn't solving a real, deeply felt need for someone, your ads are just, well, they're just expensive noise.
So how can you tell if you have a product problem? Well, you got to look for these red flags. Like if your value proposition is kind of fuzzy or vague, or if there's no real proof that people actually want what you're selling. Or maybe you've got a laundry list of features, but they don't clearly translate into benefits for the customer. Trying to run ads for a product like that, it's pretty much just throwing money into a black hole.
So this is the big question you need to ask yourself, and you have to be brutally honest here. If the answer isn't a loud, clear yes, then every other part of your campaign is built on really shaky ground. You've got to fix the foundation first.
Okay, so let's say your product engine is humming along nicely. The next logical question is, who are you driving it to? And that brings us to pillar number 2, your audience. You know, getting this right is kind of like choosing the perfect fishing spot. You could have the best bait, the best gear in the world, but if you're casting your line where there are no fish, you're not going to catch a thing.
And this is where we see the classic mistake, right? The spray and pray approach versus having a surgical focus. When you try to target everyone, you end up targeting no one. You're just wasting money. But when you have a focused audience, it's about more than just saving cash. It sends a strong signal of relevance to the ad platforms. And better signals, they mean lower costs, higher returns, and the ability to actually scale your business profitably.
So the question to ask here is all about filtering out the noise. Are your ads only reaching people who look at it and think, hey, this is for me? If your click-through rate is consistently low, that's a huge blaring siren telling you that your message just isn't landing with the audience you're targeting.
All right, so you've got a great product and you know exactly who you're talking to. Awesome. But now comes the crucial part. How do you actually hook them? How do you get their attention? That brings us to our next 2 pillars. These are the external, customer-facing parts of your whole campaign.
And that's pillar number 3, the offer. So if we stick with that fishing analogy, if the audience is the fishing spot, then the offer is the bait on the hook. It's your ad creative, it's your copy, your visuals. It's everything you use to persuade someone to stop scrolling and actually click.
You see, a strong offer is so much more than just a discount. It's the whole compelling package. You need a headline that screams, here are the benefits. You need a super clear call to action that tells them exactly what to do next.
And you need those psychological triggers, things like urgency or social proof, join over 10,000 happy customers, that kind of thing. Builds trust and really drives action.
So here's how you audit your offer. Read it like you're a customer seeing it for the first time. Does it instantly answer their number one question? What's in it for me? Because if your ad is just a bland list of features, I guarantee you it's going to get lost in the endless scroll.
Okay, so they clicked. Yes, your irresistible offer worked. But where do they go now? This is pillar number 4, the funnel. And I want you to think of it like a water slide. Once someone decides to take the plunge and click, that journey all the way to the purchase needs to be smooth, fast, and honestly, kind of fun.
See, this journey happens in a few key steps, and at every single step, there's a risk they'll just drop off. So many advertisers pour tons of money into getting that first click, but then they send people to this leaky, clunky, unoptimized funnel. A slow landing page, a confusing checkout process. That's like having a giant hole in the middle of your water slide. All that momentum is gone. So you really have to examine every single touch point. You want to know a super common conversion killer? A mismatch between the ad and the landing page. If your ad promises one thing and the page they land on feels completely different, you've instantly broken their trust. And just like that, you've lost the sale.
Okay, now it's time to bring it all together. Because this isn't about tweaking these 4 pillars in isolation, one at a time. No, the real power comes from the synergy they create. They build a self-reinforcing system that drives predictable, sustainable growth.
Let's make this super practical. Imagine a company called Yasai Juice. Their product claim is just refreshing. Well, that's way too vague. They need to highlight a unique health outcome. Their audience is health enthusiasts. Again, way too broad. They should focus on, say, young parents looking for easy nutrition. Their offer is a bland Buy Yasai Juice. So let's test a 10% discount for first-timers. And finally, their funnel is slow with a complex checkout. The fix? Simplify the form and retarget people who abandon their carts. See how this framework instantly gives you clear, actionable fixes?
And that, right there, is the ultimate goal. When these pillars work in harmony, a great product makes your offer convert better, a well-defined audience makes your funnel way more efficient, they all feed into each other. It creates this continuous loop of optimization where your ad spend finally starts to produce reliable, predictable, and profitable results. So to wrap this all up, I want to leave you with a question. I want you to look at your own advertising efforts through this AC4 lens. If you could only pick one of these pillars to strengthen right now, product, audience, offer, or funnel, which one do you think is your biggest weak point? And more importantly, which one would create the most powerful ripple effect across your entire system? Really think about it. The answer to that question might just be the key to unlocking your next level of growth.